Alright, this is a little quick video on the Canadian EV adapter plate that I'm going to use. Came in, this is the actual plate itself. The EV, this is supposed to fit the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder Ford motor. This is the hub. It has a 6-pattern bolts that will attach to the flywheel. There is a pilot bearing on the inside. It attaches simply to the shaft of the motor by use of a keyway. And there's a set screw on the top of that, and there are 2 other set screws on the inside that tighten onto the shaft. I'm a little leery of putting all my trust in that one little keyway, but apparently other people have done this, so I will give it a shot. If it fails, then I'll try something different. This is what we're going to try at this point. This is the bolt package that came with it. I haven't even taken it out yet. We'll see how it matches up to what I need. So far, the outside pattern does appear to be what my bell housing looks like, but we'll just have to wait and see. And I actually put it up to the bell housing to see if it really works. So I want to give you a quick brief overview at first before I start assembling this. I'm going to assemble it to the motor that I've got sitting on the bench next to this. It's actually covered up by my little blue towel. The other thing that I've got, and I'll show in just a minute, is the new flywheel. I went ahead and bought a flywheel to replace the one that I had. This should be the original one. It should match the bolt pattern on this hub exactly. If it doesn't, I'll back up and start over again. Alright. Couple things. Here's the flywheel. As you mentioned, the bolt pattern does match up to the hub. Interestingly enough, the bolts are not symmetrical. You have to have everything lined up just right, and to make the holes align. The distance between each one of the holes is a little bit different, and it will only fit one way. So I was able to make them all line up. I found the original bolts from my Ranger. I'd saved them. I've got them here soaking a little bit of oil because they were a little rusty, but they do thread perfectly through these holes and into the hub, which I've actually already placed under the motor now. It's assembled pretty easily with that keyway and the 3 set screws, and 2 set screws here that go actually into the shaft, and then 1 set screw right there that goes into the keyway. So, and it goes all the way on. So the next thing I'll be doing is actually putting on the adapter plate, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. I should also mention that I did use a little Loctite. I always debate back and forth which one to use, the high strength red or the blue, and I'm going with the high strength red. I use that on the little set screws. So frankly, I don't trust them very much, but I hope that will keep them from moving out and give me just a little added sense of security. So that's what we got so far. I'll update in just a second. Alright, I've got the adapter plate on now in the correct orientation. It'll actually be sitting, this will be up right here, and my terminals will be out where I can get them roughly the same position they were in before my last adapter plate. And we'll see if I put the flywheel on now. Alright, got the flywheel on now. The bolts matched up perfectly. I went in, used the red Loctite on them. She mentioned that I actually went back and put Loctite on these bolts that are holding the, right here, they're holding the adapter plate on too. So we're set from this standpoint. The next thing I've got to do is lift it up and see if I can get it to match up into the motor. But before I do, to the transmission, before I do that, I'd had to make some little adapter plates myself down here to cover up some gaps. My old adapter plate did not have coverage on that spot, and the spot up at the top. I don't know if I can actually get a picture of that. It's hard to see it over there. There's a little metal plate at the top of the bell housing. Anyway, that's not a very good shot, and I'm kind of straining, but I've got to take that off before I can drop this thing down in there. So that's going to be my next step, and then I'll obviously remove my little pieces here, my ring strap and some motor supports before I put it in. But we're getting closer. I readjusted my how I had the plate with all my electronics supported, and now you can actually see where I added a little piece of aluminum on top of the bell housing to cover the defect that wasn't there, and the second piece down there I'm going to remove those, then I'll remove my supports here, and then I'll install the motor. Alright, I'm about to get ready to start lifting the motor. I'm just going to show you. I put the clutch on now, and this is a clutch alignment tool. You see it has little ribs that match the actual ribs that are in here. You see that very well. And those actually match the same pattern on the transmission on the inside. And the little pilot bearing rides right in there, and this tip will slide right into the pilot bearing so you can center the clutch before you put it in. It's pretty critical that you do that, otherwise you're going to have a hard time getting everything lined up when you try to mate the transmission to the motor. And it's also critical that you do that before you tighten the bolts that actually hold the clutch plate on. Just one more view on the inside. This is what it looks like. I'm about to lift the motor and put it down in there.